Surface slap is a powerful skill which, when used correctly, can change how quickly and reliably a target fish can bite. While used more so in big fishing, surface slap is a skill which can see use across all types of fishing. I'm going to discuss what surface slap is and how you can determine which fish to pick to get slapped in a few different scenarios you're likely to run into. While this guide will specifically be focusing on overworld fishing, spearfishing and its surface slap equivalent skill, Veteran's Trade, can also utilize some of these strategies with some adaptations. First, a quick primer on what surface slap is. Surface slap is a skill that prevents a fish you just caught from biting until you successfully catch another fish. So if I catch a fish, then use surface slap within 15 seconds of catching that fish and before casting out, the fish I just caught will not bite at all while that surface slap buff is active. When I reel in a fish successfully, the buff is removed and I'll have to reuse the skill. That doesn't seem like much, but being able to remove a fish from even being able to bite is incredibly powerful. And this is a skill at the center of a lot of fishing strategies. The most basic strategy is slap and chum. Slap and chum is used basically for every straight catch fish. These are fish which don't require mooching to get. You'll catch and slap the most common biting fish, and from there, use chum and cast out. If you don't get the bite you want, you use rest, chum, and cast again. Since we don't ever reel in a fish unless it's the fish we want, surface slap is preserved, and we do not need to reapply it. But how do you know which fish to slap? Well, you can look that up or ask other fishers. If you don't have access to that information or other fishers to ask, you can just catch a few fish and whichever comes up the most, you can slap. The latter method isn't perfectly ideal, but it works well enough. The important thing is that you always slap something. In most cases, when big fishing and going for a straight catch fish, your big fish is going to be probably the only ferocious bite in the fishing hole. There are exceptions to this, but that's a relatively safe rule. In the case of overlapping bite types and times, you can slap the fish that isn't the one you want, the one that's competing with the time and bite, instead of the most common bite. When all the fish that you could slap are roughly equally weighted to bite, we then employ a method called the fail faster method. For this method, we look at the time it takes for a fish to bite, and the slap target then becomes whichever fish has the longest bite time, or a bite time that's longer than the big fish that you're targeting. When fishing in limited time windows, it's important to maximize the number of casts you get while the fish is available to be caught. If we slap a shorter biting fish, then the longer biting fish are more likely to bite, meaning we spend more time between casts and less casts per window. However, if we slap the longer bites, the time between casts goes down. We learn sooner rather than later that our cast isn't the fish that we want, hence the fail faster name. We learn faster that the cast has failed to get our bite. A great example of the fail faster method in action is for the fish bronze sole in sharp tongue drip in Kalusia. All the non-big fish have an equal chance to bite, so we slap sepia sole because it's the longer of those bites. This slap guarantees shorter bite times, and we learn that the bite isn't bronze sole faster than if we had slapped toffee snail or skull eater. Purse of Riches is another example of this as well, where we slap one of the two longer biting fish in order to promote shorter bites to occur more often. This is, again, another method where you can use community-created resources to help look at bite times, but if you spend a little bit extra time at a fishing hole ahead of the window, you can get a very rough idea of if this method can be used and who you should slap. It's not the most ideal, but again, it's available if you're in a pinch. At level 100, the slap and chum method gains another variable in determining which fish you slap. Ambitious and modest lure can be used to increase the likelihood of fish of their respective hook sets to bite. That is, powerful hook set for ambitious lure and precision hook set with modest lure. Instead of looking at the most common bites first, we look at the likelihood of each hook set to bite. If the target fish's hook set is less likely to bite, then you should slap one of the fish in the target fish's hook set and, on cast, use the respective lure up to 3 times or until you see the jawed attraction bite message. An example of this is for marrowsucker caught in North Drybone. Marrowsucker responds positively to powerful hook set and is thus impacted positively by ambitious lure. The only other powerful hook set fish is fairy bass, so that will become our slap target. It's worth noting and reinforcing that this really only needs to be considered for fishing holes where the target fish is the subdominant hook set. For fish like, say, Aelid Scon, whose fishing hole is all precision hook set fish, including Aelid Scon, you wouldn't be using lure stacking in this way, and instead would default to a standard slap and chum method. Finally, with lure stacking to catch hidden fish, which is the term that the English-speaking community uses to describe fish which have a specific lure message that must appear in order to trigger a chance at a bite, fish like gold grouper, moon gripper, and ole ole ole. When catching these fish, you'll follow previous methods for determining a slap. If you're going for a fish that isn't a hidden fish, though, selecting your slap target still follows the standard methodologies. Selecting the hidden fish as the slap target isn't always the best choice because they only have a chance to bite if the proc message appears. When picking a slap target in holes with hidden fish, I typically ignore them as potential slap targets and choose other non-hidden fish to slap. So for fish like Heirloom Gold Grouper or Vagrant Keeper, I would slap Yasolani Bowfin or Zoger Scorpion or Vagrant Cascade, respectively, instead of picking the hidden fish, Gold Grouper or Zoger Condor. Surface Slap is one of the most powerful skills in a fisher's kit, and being able to effectively judge which fish gets surface slapped is a skill which many fishers across all types of fishing should become familiar with. The correct slapped fish can save you not only GP, but also save you time when going for notable or otherwise rarer fish. I hope this helps you in your big fishing journeys, and as always, good luck and happy fishing.